Hey, everybody. In 2020, I started uploading videos to this YouTube channel. The channel's really grown a lot. We have thousands of subscribers all over the world, all different ages. It's skewed more to the male audience, according to my analytics. And in 2020, I did a video, the number one thing that I see trip up many guys. That is a huge problem. And that number one thing it was in 2020, having a child with someone who you don't plan to marry or you don't plan to co-parent with. It is just brutal. Then in 2021, I did another episode about the same thing. The number one thing that I see through the lens of a divorce lawyer that can just derail your life. And that is, in 2021, it was the same thing. Having a child with someone who you're not married to, you don't plan to marry, you don't plan to co-parent with. These guys are taken back for child support multiple times. The baby mama drives them nuts with withholding custody. Sometimes the baby mama will go to another jurisdiction so he can't see his kid, or she won't show up to a custody exchange. It's terrible. It's just terrible. So in 2022, I wanted to make a video through the lens of a divorce lawyer about the number one thing that I've seen in the last year that really derails guys' lives. And guess what it is? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Guys who have children with someone who they don't plan to marry or they're not married to and they can't co-parent with, they are brought through the family court support, child support ringer, most times unfairly, and it's brutal. All that bandwidth, all those resources that they have to spend trying to figure out how they're going to manage this situation could be better spent building a business or building a career or doing the things that bring them joy. But just because one time either they had unprotected sex or they believed the woman was on birth control or had some other way to protect her from getting pregnant and it wasn't true or it didn't work, for the next 18 years or longer until the child emancipates, in some jurisdictions it's 23 years of age or graduates from college. But in some jurisdictions, it's till the child turns 18 or or graduates from high school, whichever is later. You are tied to someone because you made a bad decision. So what's the purpose of this video? This is like for 3 years running, I'm making the same video because if I could save one guy from making a life decision that could really zap his resources and his bandwidth, then it's worth it, all right? Go sit in child support court and watch these guys get bowled over. The system is stacked against you, all right? They use a formula in most jurisdictions. Now, if you're a high-earning guy, let's say you make a couple $100,000 a year, and you have a child with a woman who is in a low paying job, you could pay $4,000 or $5,000 a month in child support and have no control over how that money's spent. It's just a transfer of wealth, basically. The courts are not going to enforce that the money's used for the child. Yeah, I know this is bad news. Maybe it's like an episode of Scared Straight, where you need to hear this. Protect your seed. If there's any doubt whatsoever whether or not the child is yours, get a paternity test, because once you acknowledge paternity, you can't unacknowledge it. You're stuck. All right? Pass this along to someone who needs to see it and protect yourself. Make good decisions. Know who you're hanging out with, who you're sleeping with. All right? Be careful out there.